The movie begins with Adolf Hitler consulting with Thomas Koppel, a behavioral coach. Hitler complains that no one greets him anymore and wonders why the Nazi salute that he knows is not used. Koppel states that the new norm is the classic handshake when greeting someone, but Hitler argues that a little effort of raising the palm is no different from the Nazi salute. Hitler seems so out of place as he still cannot comprehend the new life that he is about to face. We are then taken back to how it all began. Hitler wakes up confused as to where he is. As he looks up to the sky, no aircraft can be seen and no artillery can be heard. He wakes up on the ground somewhere in a forest. He is recollecting his memories when a ball bounces towards him. 3 boys appear and ask if he is okay. But he ignores their question and instead asks where's Bormann, which leaves them confused as they do not know any person by that name. The 3 kids did not entertain Hitler anymore as they had a film to shoot. He gets his belongings and walks past the buildings. Everything looks new to him. From the cars to the phones, and the happiness of the people, they all look crazy to him. He even asks himself if he got into a coma and missed the German victory. He must know more about what happened before he woke up. As he moves through the city, people seem to look at him and even take pictures with him. Things are getting out of hand and he quickly gets away. He then finds a woman whom he approaches to ask questions. But the terrified woman pepper sprays him. He quickly felt the pain of the pepper spray and his eyes turned red from the pain. He staggers and walks to a nearby shop only to see the newspaper date for that day is October 3, 2014. Somewhere else in a TV station, Deputy Director Kristof Sensenbrink fires Fabian, a filmmaker for their company. He tries to convince Kristof to not fire him by making up a hot scoop. However, Kristof does not believe him and he is thrown out of the building. Meanwhile, Hitler wakes up and asks the owner of the newspaper about the date. He confirms that it is obviously October of 2014. Hitler suspects that the enemy captured him and it is all a ploy because why else would they send an innocent shop owner? Instead, the shop owner gave him an energy bar. He cautiously takes a bite and finds it very sweet. The shop owner asks if he is an actor because he looks so similar to the Führer. To which, Hitler affirms that he is indeed the Führer. But the owner just shrugs it off with a laugh. As he reads the newspaper, he realizes that destiny must have brought him to the present time to continue the fight in this modern world. He collects information and learns that the war was lost along with his supposed death, and that the current government is run by a clumsy woman forming National Socialism. In another scene, Fabian laments the fall of his career as a filmmaker. He watches the last video he took of the soccer boys from before. His mother brings him food and consoles him. Just then, she notices something from the video. It's our very own Hitler just behind the camera. He suddenly gets an idea to get his career back. Meanwhile, the shop owner complains that Hitler smells really bad and tells him to get his clothes cleaned. And so, Hitler visits a laundry shop. The first one denied their service, but fortunately, the lady at the second store agreed to clean all his clothes. She even lends him a new pair of jeans. He walks back to the shop and there, he sees Fabian who has been looking for him all day. Fabian could not believe it as he really does look like the real Hitler. He confuses him for an actor and he jokes if he also does the things Hitler did. To which Hitler replied sarcastically, by bombing the enemy. He then sternly lectures Fabian about how little things he knows about war, and that Fabian probably doesn't even know how to find his own uniform. Unlike Hitler who of course have it. But of course, currently, it's in the laundry shop. Fabian and the shop owner burst out laughing saying that he is a true natural. He tells Hitler that he will make him known, to which Hitler readily agrees. Together with Hitler, they journey through Germany. Upon arriving at the hotel, Hitler is amazed by the advancement of technology. But upon looking at the news channel, he sees garbage content. He makes it a point to include the important thing in Fabian's film, politics. They visit city to city, asking people about their political views on democracy. They respond that nothing has changed and that there are many things that they are not satisfied with. He concludes that everyone is experiencing political disenchantment, much like the anger and discontentment of people back in his time. He vows it is the first thing that he would change for the people. They interview more people and while traveling Fabian tells him that he deserves a purebred German shepherd. They go to a farm, and while the owner of the dogs and Fabian are talking, Hitler is bitten by the dog. Hitler shoots the dog and they leave the farm while Fabian berates him for his method of acting. Eventually, they run out of money. Fabian calls his old boss, but he does not help him. Fortunately, Hitler can draw. So they went to the central square, attracting many people who donated money when Hitler drew their faces. After getting enough money, they continued their journey, often interviewing and coaxing people to support Hitler, while also enjoying themselves by visiting the mountains, riding the Ferris wheel in the carnival, visiting the park, and many more. He is quickly becoming more and more popular across the internet as people post their pictures with him. Eventually, it reached more than 1 million views. Fabian sends a report to Christoph in hopes of getting back his old job. Christoph is amazed and wants to meet Hitler, but he is already behind him. While Christoph talks with Fabian for a moment, Hitler makes his way toward the meeting room with the high executives of the company. He confronts Bellini, the managing director of the whole team, and makes a speech of his glorious plan. Bellini is impressed and asks Christoph to prepare a TV show for Hitler. On the day they started the show, Hitler stood at the center and saw the people becoming uneasy trying to match his face with the old Hitler. There is tension in the air, awing the audience in silence. Finally, he broke the silence. Instead of following the script of making immigrant jokes and racist comments, he made a speech about how entertainment is just a diversion from the real problems that everyone is facing, such as poverty, unemployment, and a declining birth rate. He says he will fight those kinds of TV shows and encourages everyone to overcome said problems. There is an overwhelming applause from the audience as they cheer for him. The show is a big hit. Hitler was then put on various TV programs that interviewed him and asked for all his agendas. He gets more famous not only in TV shows but also online as people upload videos of him online. Having this much popularity, he visits more political leaders and sways them over to his side. His popularity grows immensely and he meets several people and party leaders. He starts charming them all by sharing his ideas. But not everything is good, as a district attorney one day visits the studio about the hate complaints that they received. But the DA informs Bellini not to worry. Hitler was then put in another TV program where he was asked various questions and his views on the war. The host disagrees with some of his beliefs and begins to show a video clip of him shooting the dog. This negatively impacted his audience. Bellini is fired and Hitler's popularity drops immediately. Hitler stays at Fabian's house while he writes a book about himself waking up at the beginning of the movie. It's another great success hit as it rose as a bestseller. And he gains popularity again. They even intend to make it into a movie. Meanwhile, at the studio that fired Bellini, they have a meeting about the collapse of their company. With Christopher as the managing director, they suggested bringing back Hitler shows. Christopher visits the film studio where they make the live film for Hitler to partner up with them. In another scene, Hitler and Fabian visit Kromier's house where Hitler is berated by her grandmother for his crimes, which include killing their family. Fabian gets disappointed at Hitler's actions and his words. On set, they reenact the scene of how Hitler came, with many Fabian actors helping him. As he goes outside to clear his mind, people are waiting for him and they beat him. He wakes up in a hospital with Bellini. Meanwhile, Fabian watches the footage again and witnesses how Hitler came to this world. All this time, he is the real Hitler. He investigates the exact scene where he found Hitler, and finds evidence to support his claim. He immediately goes to the hospital and informs Bellini that he is indeed the real Adolf Hitler. He acts crazy and panics, in which the guard chases after him when he tries to escape. The scene changes and Fabian finds Hitler. He points a gun at him saying that he is a monster and he is using propaganda just like he did in 1933. But Hitler replied that they were not propaganda as they elected Hitler. They arrive on top of the building and Fabian shoots Hitler. Just then, Hitler appears behind Fabian and tells him he can never get rid of him. And then, director Bellini asked for a cut. It was all a live movie. The set cheers for their effort and they have a party. The real Fabian, however, is in a mental ward as his girlfriend cries. The movie ends with Hitler and Bellini giving autographs after the success of the film.